One was really a Permian portfolio with a little bit in the Rockies around that, but that was really where we ended up deploying capital. We spent time in other basins. We bought deals in the Haynesville. We bought, and then as we've gotten into Elk Range 2, we've had a lot more success in the Eagle Ford. I think we kicked tires on countless transactions in 2022 in the Eagle Ford and in the Haynesville. So it was nice as we kicked off Elk Range 2 to really have some success and get a big transaction done in the Eagle Ford. I think we'll see more and do more in that basin going forward. But remain very active in the Permian. I think if you look at all the marketed transactions that are out there, I think we look at just about everything in the Permian, bid on just about all of them. It's a very competitive basin, so I feel lucky that if you look at the last 2 years, we've won one deal each year. I think that's a hit rate that I'm happy with. There's a lot of work that goes into that, but I feel like we've got a good pulse for the market and what's going on there and what's being marketed. In addition to that, we've had some good success in the Rockies and continue to run a ground game there. And like we talked about, the Eagle Ford will be a continued focus going forward in Elk Range too.
For sure. So just kind of unpacking and recapping some of the stuff you just mentioned. So Elk Range 1 was about 14,000 NRAs total, right?
Yes.
About 10,000 of that Permian. So like you said, very heavily concentrated in the Permian. You mentioned you guys just sold a third of the legacy Lux Minerals portfolio in the Midland Basin to Saxum Capital Partners. So congrats to Dim Mutry and the team over at Saxum. That's their second.
They were great to work with. Really smooth transaction. So fun to get something done with them.
Yeah, and that's their second minerals transaction, if I'm not mistaken. The first one was in the Haynesville, so they're continuing to grow, which is great. And just kind of a side note, it's interesting, so many deals in the mineral space and time flies by. COVID seems like a decade ago. And you just kind of forget sometimes about some of the assets that are out there in portfolios that are getting harvested. And when they get to that right maturity date, this was a legacy fund for NGP, right? It's not the Lux stuff was not sitting inside of an Elk Range portfolio. And so for a variety of factors, it was the right time to monetize that and get an exit for NGP. And, I think that whether it's you guys on the buy side or others, those types of opportunities will continue to surface in upcoming years. And it's not always the latest fund that, kind of comes together and goes to market. There's a lot of stuff in the background that you can kind of move past and forget that's going to resurface and exit, right? It's interesting. I was just doing a prep call with Carrie Osica, the CFO of Sitio. I'm doing a panel with her and some other women next week around capital raising and financing in the mineral space. She said, Tim, it's super competitive in the Permian, but we feel like when we lose a deal to another group, traditionally a private group, that asset will probably come round full circle to us at some point. Maybe it's 3 years, maybe it's 10 years, but we want to be the ultimate end buyer. And so when you kind of peel away the daisy chain over a decade long period, it's kind of interesting how stuff comes full circle.